What is up, y'all? That was a blooper, but I'm just gonna leave it. This vase just fell. Put my legs on the table. What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Bodhi Tree Social. It's your gateway to social freedom. This episode, I want to talk about this idea that you don't actually want to succeed. Just think about that. Let that sink in. You don't actually want to succeed. And this may seem absurd, this may seem ridiculous. Like, what else would you want in life? Other than to succeed, other than to be successful in your endeavors, right? But the reason why, from my perspective, that you don't actually want to succeed, and the reason why I can see in myself that I personally do not want to succeed, and perhaps you can relate, is because success, in a sense, is scary. Success is foreign if you haven't reached the levels that you're trying to reach yet, which, you know, there's always higher levels, so of course there's always more success to be had. But the reason why oftentimes we can fall into self-sabotaging patterns, we can have the snapback effect where we move forward so far and then we fall back into old patterns, into old habits. It's because we have gotten used to being at a certain level. You could say we've gotten used to being at a certain level in the social hierarchy. And to rise above this level is scary, right? It's scary. It's almost like this self has to die. It's almost like you have to face a death, in a sense. It's like a mini death. You know, you don't fully die in this incarnation, but a part of you has to die. A part of your old psychological conditioned self, of your ego self, has to die. And another huge reason of why this is so, scary is because, back in the day, I know a lot of people like to reference the caveman times as if we really have that much knowledge. We have a little bit, paleontology, whatever. The study of the history of humanity. We have a little bit of knowledge of that, and so my assumption of what occurred during that time was there was a social hierarchy. And say you're kind of like in the middle. I'm assuming, most people watching this video, you're probably somewhere in the middle. You're not like a mutant homeless person smoking crack on the side of the road. If you are, this can help you too, but I'm assuming the majority of people watching this are not. And you're probably not like super successful, rich, at the in the top 1%, or maybe you are, and thanks for tuning in. You can reach me in the DMs. But anyway, what I want to communicate is that back in the day, caveman time, so to speak, there's a certain social hierarchy, and say you're in the middle of the social hierarchy, you really don't want to progress much from there. Like, you're in a comfortable place. The middle is nice because the dudes at the top are constantly having to fucking fight to stay at the top. It's a constant headache to stay up there because everyone is trying to take your position. Everyone is trying to bring you down. And the people at the bottom, that fucking sucks. They're just trying to scramble up, but everyone's like kicking them back down. Like, no, you're not going to take my spot. So you don't want to be at the bottom either. But the middle, it's nice. It's comfortable. So it's like if you're comfortable in life, you're not starving. You're not having to struggle and fight too much to get food and shelter. And, you got like some cool friends, family, whatever. You're not struggling too much. You're not suffering too much. Then why would you try to progress? Why? From a biological standpoint, why the fuck would you try to move up? It doesn't even make sense. It's like you're risking more from a biological survival standpoint. So you literally have to go against your biology to progress to a higher level if you're in that middle of the hierarchy. So going back to the caveman time, say the caveman in the middle is like, fuck this, you know, I want all the best food and clothing and fucking, you know, the best cave and the hottest bitches. I want it all. I want to move up. I want to progress. You know what he's gonna have to do is he's gonna have to fucking push himself hard without any biological drive to do so. It's simply that psychological desire of wanting to move up. His biology isn't really pushing him too much. Maybe a little bit to, like, you know, get the hotter girls or whatever, you know, have higher quality offspring, whatever, to carry on his genetics a little bit, but not too much. You know, he's in the middle. He's getting decent girls anyway. Not a big deal. But it's purely that psychological desire of moving up in life, to propel yourself forward higher in the evolutionary hierarchy, so to speak. And in order to do this, he's gonna have to fucking push himself, you know? He might have to start, like, working out harder. He might have to start going on more extreme hunting excursions to get even bigger game. You know, he might have to challenge the dudes above him and even, like, fight them. He might have to go and try to take their girls, and they might try to fucking kill him. But he's willing to do it because he has that burning desire to move up in life. And he recognizes the fleeting temporal nature of reality. We're really the only animal in existence that recognizes the temporal, fleeting nature of this life. How we are mortal beings. Other animals, perhaps in the background at a subconscious level, they have an awareness. You know, they do have that survival instinct. They probably have some awareness of death, but they don't have a full grasp of the temporary nature of this incarnation. I feel they probably don't fully grasp this, at least intellectually, the way that we do as humans. So we have this grasp of the temporary nature of life. So because of the temporary nature, this is the reason to move up. You know, if you're immortal, you live forever, dude, you could spend hundreds, thousands of years just chilling in the middle. Then you're like, oh, maybe later on if I want to move up, I can. But we have like 100 years, if we're lucky, 100 years. And then your youth, it's like what? It's like 40 years or some shit, you know? Maybe 50 if you stay really healthy. That's like your youth, and then it's gone. So you gotta push yourself every day to move up, or you're just not gonna do it. You're gonna get too comfortable. Me personally, I was homeless for like 7 years off and on. And looking back, there were times where I'm actually thankful that I was homeless, because it fucking pushed me. It was like a fire burning under my ass to get shit done. And, you know, maybe I didn't accomplish that much in terms of societal success, but I came leaps and bounds forward in my inner world, in my inner psychology, because of that intense pressure of you know, needing to get my needs met. And then now that I've been living in a house, I've noticed I actually haven't had as much of that pressure to evolve. You know, I've been like sleeping in more. I've been just chilling, just hanging out, not really progressing too much, you know, not really like working on myself too much. And I just noticed that, and it's like, wow, I've gotten in a sense too comfortable. And I'm like considering, like, do I want to go back to I don't think I want to go back to completely being homeless, but I kind of want to throw myself into a more challenging situation, really put more shit on the line, and maybe not as extreme as what I used to do, like sleeping under a bush and shit like that. Pretty extreme. I don't know if I really want to go back to that, but throwing myself in a situation where it's like succeed or die, it's like that's really what is going to make the difference. It's like you throw yourself into a situation where your only option is to either succeed or basically to die, you know? And sometimes that's the extremity that you have to subject yourself to in order to move up in life, because the biological conditioned response is to just stay comfortable. We all just want to, you know, stay in our comfort zone. Right? That's why you don't go for the better career, the better position, the raise, to go after your passion, to go for the better girls, right? To go for your dreams, to go for the life that you want, full on, do or die, that kind of attitude. That's why you don't fucking do it. It's because you're comfortable, and your biology says, stay comfortable. Don't risk it. What is the point? You know, you could die. Fuck that. Stay comfortable. Stay here in the middle of the social hierarchy.